Welcome to the Eye on Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
I was coming out Route 50. I started just short of the Bay Bridge, and I jumped into the Jamal Shopping Center with, we're here with Jeff Wall, who is the managing partner of Fence and Deck Connection here. How are you?
Hey, John. Good morning.
Good.
I'm well.
To be honest with you, I've seen your sign here. I've never been in the shopping center, so it was kind of interesting to get down here. Perfect location for everybody that's heading to the beach and everything else, because I know you do have a place up by the airport-ish, right?
Right. Our core location is in Millersville, Maryland, right off Veterans Highway.
And you are the Fence and Deck Connection guys.
We are. Our core location, we were busting at the seams. We needed to find another location, and what better location than right before the Bay Bridge to get that high visibility and
yeah, you got 2 or 3 cars that go over there every day in the summer, I think, or something like that.
There's a few, yeah. So,
and if there's an accident, they back up and they can just sit there and stare at your sign, right?
And we put tons of signage out, so yeah, we're trying to capture all that attention.
Well, I know that you guys have been around for a long time. I mean, I've heard your commercials, I've seen your trucks, I've seen your advertising, and you are a company that's been around in Anne Arundel County for quite some time. And I mean, what is the history of Fence and Deck Connection?
It's a great question. Well, Jim Rubish and Ben Woolard started the company back in '91, and they were into the commercial side and jumped into the business, landed their first big commercial job on Route 50, miles of fence, and that kind of put them on the map. And
what was that first job?
What
was it? I mean, was it a construction job?
It was chain link along Route 50.
Oh, wow.
I recall it's probably 5 or 6 miles of fencing that they did.
That's wild. So this is back in 1991.
This is back in 1991, and then from there continued into the commercial side. Decided to jump into residential fencing, and that kind of started to take off, and the name started getting out in Anne Arundel, and from there moved into residential decking.
What's bigger, I guess, now at this point? Is it commercial or is it residential? You say you've got both of them, and I mean, are they pretty equal? I mean, I'm sure they're different bears.
Well, I mean, the good thing with our company, we are very diversified. So we've got commercial divisions, we got residential divisions, we have service divisions, but overall, our residential side's still a bit higher than our commercial side. However, we do a good bit of builder business, so we're working with big names like Ryan Homes, Lennar, KF Nanian, and if we lump that into the commercial side, then we're heavier on commercial. So
okay, you're pretty well balanced.
It's a separate division, but yeah, we're well balanced, like you said.
Well, you guys are very community involved. I know, through this pandemic that we are coming out of, hopefully.
Right, knock on wood.
Yeah, you guys have been at the forefront. I mean, you've had food drives, you've had any number of different community initiatives, primarily out of your Millersville location, but that's speaks for a company that's been around for as long as you have, since '91. Is giving back.
It's a passion of ours to give back, especially to the communities that serve us. Between holiday drives that we do every year, warrior events, supporting the veterans, we're big supporters of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank and many, many different charitable churches, and really even youth organizations. We're super involved in helping out with fence replacements on the fields, and it's really part of our core philosophy. Just if we can give back, we do.
I talked to more businesses in the area, and a lot of them, I'd say most of them, say that part of it of being in the community is giving back to the community. I mean, it's a two-way street if you want to get the support to do it. And not one of them has said that they've ever regretted or even come close to regretting the involvement there.
Yeah, you can't even imagine the feeling that you get when you're involved in helping and you're a part of what's going on around you. I mean, it's just all of our employees that typically participate and contribute, they walk away just feeling good. And really that's what it's all about.
You are, I'll say, a relative newcomer. I was snooping on your website a little bit, and you came in here probably a little bit more than about a decade ago, right? Or
I came in 2006.
Oh, wow,
So
okay.
Jim and I have been longtime friends. We've played many years of flag football together. Now we're getting a little too old for it, but
I'm glad you can admit that.
we had discussions, through the years. I watched him start the business and watched it grow. He kind of watched me grow in my professional career. And in 2006, we came together. And
What was your background prior to, I mean, was it a construction background? Was it a sales background? Or?
it was more of a sales background. I was a regional sales manager for an automotive aftermarket manufacturing company, big global company. So, many, many times the size of Fence and Deck Connection. But I wanted to get in with with a company that really connected locally, and I had more ability to help market and drive the success of something a little smaller.
Well, coming in from outside of the construction or the fence and deck industry, was it a help or a hindrance for you?
It really was neither. I come in with the sales and marketing experience, which is why I run the sales and marketing division. We have the great people in place to do all the construction side. And that's really what Jim and Ben are primarily focused on. Ben runs the fence side of the business, and Jim runs the deck side of the business. So
Okay. And then you turn around and you take care of the sales on all of it.
take care of the sales and marketing.
That works out well.
It's a good fit. We work together well, so it's been just a tremendous experience.
Well, obviously you do decks and you do fences. Do you have other products that you guys do? I mean, obviously you're talking about the growth that you've seen since '91. I mean, it's I imagine decks and fences are probably somewhat limited. I mean, most homes might go through a couple.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised how many are out there. We do focus on three things: fences, decks, and screen porches on the residential side. That's all we do. We do it well. We stay in our wheelhouse. On the commercial side, we do high-rise railing renovations. So when it comes to vinyl railing, aluminum railing, vinyl fencing, we actually fabricate all those products here in Baltimore.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, well, that sort of brings up a question I've got, is that you mentioned back in '91 it was miles and miles of so attractive chain link fence, which is not the choice of most homeowners on the residential side for sure. But materials, you're talking about plastic and these polymers and everything else that is doing out. Is wood still a thing?
Wood is still a thing. Some HOAs still require it. However, I will tell you, vinyl is ever increasing in popularity. It's low maintenance. With COVID and lumber prices shooting through the roof, the gap between the two became minimal. So why go with a wood fence when you can upgrade to a vinyl for little or no extra cost?
Well, I remember a big fight in downtown Annapolis with the historic district. There was a home that had replaced some wood fluted columns with fiberglass ones, and
Sure.
I mean they had the wood grain, built into it. They paint. I mean, you could not tell the difference. But the fiberglass ones were going to last hundreds of years. The wood ones would last, 30 or 40 years, whatever
Right.
it was, plus all the maintenance. And they ultimately ended up losing just because the historic district said, no, it needs to be wood. It wasn't, and it was a brutal battle.
It's amazing what we do run into between the county and individual HOA requirements, because there are vinyl products that look just like wood. So why not, right? Better for the ecosystem, better for the client, better for everybody, but what are you going to do?
You got to rules are rules.
Rules are rules.
What area? I mean, you're here at the foot of the Bay Bridge right here now, so I'm assuming that you go over to the Eastern Shore a little bit. You'd be probably silly not to go over, 4 miles over the bridge. But what areas do you serve?
We serve Anne Arundel County as our primary core county, but all the adjacent counties we service as well. Before COVID, we were spread really out there. And then, when material shortages came into play, we kind of had to hone back and really focus on what we could stock, who we could deliver quickly to, and so forth.
How did COVID affect you guys? I mean, I imagine everyone doing the home improvement projects. I mean, I've talked to any number of people that are in the sort of construction trades, price of wood aside. They were busy. People were saying, "Hey, I'm stuck at home. I need I need an office built in my basement. I need some wiring done to support this, and just different things like that." And then, of course, you had the do-it-yourselfers that were out there. Did you find that in your business during the pandemic that people were looking to improve their homes with decks and fences?
Well, without question. We've seen a crazy influx of business when COVID first started. So what we had to do is we had to pivot, essentially. As we were talking about before, our area, which was basically all of Maryland, we had to shrink that down. We had to start telling people that were calling us from outside counties that we just couldn't service them right now.
And why was that? Just the ability to get or manufacture the material, or was it employees? Or
well, it's primarily two things. One is production keeping up with sales. Once we outpace production,
not much you can do.
There's not much you can do. It starts making customers angry. The wait times are longer, and then materials. We had to really hone down the materials that we could get and stock and be able to service customers quickly. We are not that company that's going to tell you 6 to 8 weeks and then turn around and install it in 15 or 20.
Nothing worse than that.
Nothing worse than that.
Nothing worse than that.
You want to make people angry? Start doing that.
What is it? You you under promise and over deliver.
Under promise and over deliver.
That's
the key, right?
That's absolutely what it is. Well, I mean, how large is Fence and Deck Connection? And I want to interrupt and just sit there and say that the website is Fence and Deck Connection. There's nothing funny about that.com. And it does list all of the different services you offer as well as the different products and everything else. It gives you a real good overview. But how big is the company in terms of employees? I mean, I know you've said that you're primarily a Maryland company with a centric focus on Anne Arundel County.
Right. So our core business, we have about 110 employees on payroll.
Oh, gosh.
That doesn't include our crews. We typically are running 15 to 20 deck crews and 15 to 20 fence crews on a daily basis. We install on average about 6 decks a day.
Wow.
Every day for the whole year. We don't stop. And fencing, about the same. We're about 5 fences a day.
5 jobs a day. Wow. And I guess the only thing that stops you is severe weather.
That's it. And sickness from COVID.
You think. That's
But
right.
yeah, the weather certainly plays a factor in our business. But,
Do you yourself still get out there and get your hands dirty every now and then? Or do you just go out and crack the whip?
Well, I'll get out when we have some customer concerns. Maybe we'll have to address and personally have some conversations. But for the most part, we've got phenomenal teams in place. We've got great staff. And really, that is the true core of our success, is how we're set up and our employees and the job that they do.
Well, it speaks well for you that you don't need to get out there and ease the concerns that frequently. It sounds like you've got a great backup and
It's
great
not
customer
often,
service.
and we've invested millions of dollars in our internal systems, whether it's inventory management, whether it's CRM systems, to be able to really streamline the process for our clients. I mean, it's boom, 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 boom. It's smooth.
I mean, walk me through that. I mean, if I'm looking to put a deck on my house right now, okay, what's the process to work with Fence and Deck Connection?
So the process is, depending on how you contact us, whether it's through one of our social sites or through one of our phone lines, you call in, you speak to one of our scheduling team, and they're great to talk to. They're going to ask you a couple questions. They want to qualify a little bit what's going on and what you want to do. We get you scheduled. Okay. From there, our salesperson reaches out before the consultation, just as an introduction, just to warm up a little bit, ask a few questions. We send customers flip books and electronic data so that they can kind of start sifting through like an idea book.
I find that all the time. I say, I want a deck with like railing, and then somebody will say, oh, well, what about seating? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And there's just different things that I don't think of because I'm not in the industry a lot of times.
So we'll shoot that out. It'll give them some ideas. It'll kind of prep them for the consultation. And then, the consultation will come, and our guys are coming out with samples and portfolios and pictures and just walking people through a consultative process. Not pushy. We're not, die hard, press down, make the sale. If you don't make the sale, you're fired type of company at all. And then from there, once we contract, everything's digital, right? So no paperwork. Then it moves into our production team. From there, customer gets a nice warm and fuzzy from our production staff as an introduction. And then boom, they take over. And then once production's done, that moves into our quality control team. Nice little introduction. They quality control the job. Hopefully the customer's super happy. And
interesting. What's the time frame, start to finish? I mean, and I know that is such a really weird question because, it depends on what I have. But if, just say an average in a townhome, a backyard deck, from the time I go to your website or reach out to you to get.
From time of contract to completion on a deck, right now we're about 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's pretty quick.
It's way above average with what's out there right now.
Do decks and fences require permits?
Some do. Depends. There's a lot of variables that will dictate if a permit's required. Some fences do, some decks do. It just depends. The county, what you're constructing.
And that all jumps into under your umbrella of what you do, right? I mean, you're going to find out if they need a permit, and then you're going to obtain it if need be. And
absolutely. I mean, the way we're set up, our guys cover certain areas, so they're very familiar with the county codes, the different municipalities, the different HOA requirements.
Right.
So there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to both fencing and decking projects.
What's worse dealing with, HOAs or cities or municipalities?
That's a tough question. I might say HOAs because that's our biggest delay is trying to get these homeowner association approvals.
I imagine. Well, and you've also probably got to, I imagine you have to coordinate an awful lot with landscapers. And depending on, you mentioned you work with some builders, with Hovanian or, I don't know whether Toll Brothers is down here or Koch or whoever it may
Lennar,
be.
Yeah.
But, I imagine you've got a lot of coordination with landscapers and builders and, and everything else as well.
We do. And that's, one of our biggest divisions is our builder division. And there is definitely a different structure to that division when it comes to, scheduling, being on time, adjusting your schedule because, like you said, maybe the siding guy's delayed or maybe the final grade's not put on, little things like that can really, in a high-volume company, jam up your schedule.
Yeah, I'd imagine. And then, certainly, if you're working with, manufacturing some of the product, you don't want to be sitting on, or even if you're buying it, you don't even want to sit on it for too long.
Well,
get it in, get it out, and get it built.
In the times we're in, I don't know that sitting on product too long is ever an issue right now.
That's true. What's the largest job you've ever done, or do you know what your largest job would be capable of?
We've done some commercial jobs, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Like I said, we manufacture our own aluminum railing, so we're big into new construction, high rises with aluminum balcony rails.
Okay.
A lot of times when we're doing that, we're doing the site fencing and perimeter fencing. And
so in a high rise or something, are you doing actually the install too as well, or are you just providing the material for a builder to install, or both?
No. Well, we do both, but typically we're doing the install. We're doing a turnkey. So. Interesting.
Well, what does set Fence and Deck Connection apart from my fictional neighbor down the road, Joe, who is a home remodeler, and he can build a deck for me real cheap? And what sets you apart?
Well, there's a couple things that set us apart. One, I think it's the overall experience we provide in the smooth process. So we got high-quality installers. We carry high-quality products. We got high-quality employees. We have probably the only lifetime structural warranty that is legitimately a lifetime structural warranty in the market. We make it easy for our customers to deal with us when it comes to a warranty claim.
What is a lifetime structure warranty?
So if we build something for you and there's a structural compromise, then we cover it. We come out, labor included, we'll fix it, replace it.
Okay, so a footer shifts or something and I don't want to say collapses, but the deck lurches and it's on all of a sudden now on an angle.
Yes.
That would be a structural type thing, but the 20 years down the road when the deck boards are splintering, that's not. That's just routine maintenance.
That's routine maintenance. That's correct.
Okay.
So, if you get fence posts that are leaning after a couple years, they call us or we send out our service division. We make it right, call it a day. And you'd be amazed, the amount of fences that we install year after year, how that exponentially increases for our service division and that warranty coverage. You can imagine. I mean, if we're installing 2,500 fences a year, 3,000 decks a year, every year.
Right. It's adding up.
It's adding up.
Well, that's all your incentive in the world to do it right the first time.
That's exactly correct.
and get it there.
Hit the nail in the head.
And I've also got to think that you've got a leaning fence post or something along those lines as far as a customer service aspect there. It's much easier for you to tell somebody on your maintenance team, go out and straighten the frickin' post, as opposed to getting into this big old fighting thing and to be able to offer that and going back and forth with the customer.
Yeah. Well, and the good news, we're typically in every county, every city daily. So, if we've got to shoot over and make a small repair, it's really not that difficult. It's more of a scheduling process, which we have kind of dialed in.
And I've got to think that that's most customers have to be pretty easy about that. Yeah, we can get out there next week. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's the herd's not getting loose.
The herd's not getting loose, but you get a huge windstorm that comes through, and we've had some crazy storms. Now that's not covered; that's an act of God. But you can imagine the phone calls coming in from all these people that their fences were blown over, or
sure,
whatever the case. It can be overwhelming sometimes.
How do you explain your A+ rating with the BBB?
Well, what is there to explain? I mean, if anybody that's gone to our site and sees all our reviews and customer comments understand the great lengths that we go to make customers happy.
When I drove up into the parking lot here, I saw a big sign in the front that said you're waterfront specialists. And I'm like, Charlie Buckley selling real estate here? I mean, I've got to assume now that there's some kind of a difference between installing fences and decks in waterfront properties as opposed to a wooded property or a property out in the middle of a field.
There's definitely some more challenges with the waterfront. And when we say waterfront specialist, there's two things that really kind of click. One is when you've worked with the county as much as we have, you know what can and can't be done. So we kind of pride ourselves on being able to educate our waterfront customers on, hey, you can do this, you can't do this, here's your options. So that's one, is dealing with the county and helping customers navigate what they can and can't build. Second thing is we install a lot of stainless steel cable rail, glass picket railing. So, when it comes to these waterfront views, you don't want to block it, right? Right. You want the best products to really open up the views and give you that best look out to whatever you're looking at.
Okay, so you're not throwing that big 10-foot privacy fence on the on the water side.
No, but we're offering products that you virtually kind of look through that become invisible. Whether it's stainless steel cable rail, whether it's glass pickets, whether it's black iron rods.
Brings the outside in.
we really try to marry the two together.
Do you get many people that want to like build in the critical areas? That want to initially do? I mean, you said part of it is education with and I mean, people buy houses. Oh, what's this old non-riparian thing mean? Without realizing it. I mean, I can't build my pier here, but is that part of your job? I mean, you know exactly where the critical areas are, and it's like, okay, we can build a deck 30 feet out, but we can't go 31 feet.
Yes. So, when it comes to environmental settings, waterfront or critical area, agricultural areas, we're pretty well versed and are able to educate the consumers on what they can and can't do. When our guys don't know, they're calling the county themselves to help the customers navigate through those things. We have a permit division of 4 super knowledgeable staff that practically know everybody in the county. So if the salesman can't get it answered, then we defer to our permit team.
Well, that makes sense. Sounds like that if they don't know the answer, they know when they're in an area where they need to get the answer.
That's right. But to your point, though, people love to deviate from what they can do.
Why? Is that just a gotcha?
They feel that some of that property is theirs. They should be able to just build on it.
Legitimate.
Right? It's in their backyard. They want to cut down the trees.
Paid $1 million
and they don't understand
that
it's an agricultural protected area and that there's rules to be followed. So everything we do, we permit if a permit's required. So we stay above the line.
And I've got to imagine that adding a deck or a fence, again, we're talking residential for the most part, adds a lot of value to your home. Obviously, personal value when you can sit out there and have that cocktail and watch the football game and all that kind of stuff. But as far as when it comes time to resale, as far as your, how much do you have an idea of how much a deck or a fence could add?
I do, and that's a great question. Customers are always wanting to know, what's my return on an investment if we move forward? So when you go to a composite or low-maintenance fence or deck, typical in this market return on investment is going to be about 75%.
Oh, wow.
So it ranks in the top 5 for best investments to your home.
Right, with painting your front door.
Right. But, yeah, so a lot of it, and we try to educate customers when we meet with them, is how many years do you plan on being here? And we kind of help them navigate through what they can expect on the return versus, like a wood fence versus a vinyl fence, for instance.
Sure.
The returns are different.
Yeah.
You just got to know. You got to be educated on what the best decision is.
And I imagine everybody's situation is different.
Everybody's is, yeah.
Well, you've also won a number of different awards. I know, the What's Up magazine has awarded you the, I forget exactly which the category is, but I know that you've won several years for that as well. And I know that
we've won Best Fence and Deck Contractor, Best Owners through multiple channels, like you're saying, What's Up. We've won Best in the Nation for many years. Yeah, I mean, It's humbling, and we love it. And the bottom line is we're here to make the customers happy. The awards are kind of secondary.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a testament to a job well done since 1991. Yeah. It really is. What's something that most people wouldn't know about Fence and Deck Connection that would surprise you? I was surprised at the extent of your showroom here on Route 50.
I think the biggest thing is people not realizing the size we are as a fence and deck company when you see us from the outside. But we've got 4 locations, 5 locations now. Like you said, we've got our core installation production location. Then we've got our sales and marketing location in Annapolis. We've got our accounting and human resources staff in Baltimore. I think the vertical integration that we discussed about earlier, where we have a manufacturing company and a distribution company, probably would be something that the general public wouldn't know.
That's fantastic.
It's fun.
It is. Well, it keeps you on your toes. I mean, and did you see the Fence and Deck Connection being what it is today when you came back in here in 06? I'm going to venture to say back in 91, nobody saw this coming.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you asked that question because we just celebrated our 30th year last year, and we had a big shindig. And Jim, Ben, and I were discussing this during that event. Like, did anybody even recognize that we would be here today? And certainly since they started the company, that expectation wasn't there. Now, when I came into the company in 2006, I never thought that we would have grown to where we are today from that point. But we've got some really good forward thinkers. It's really been an easy process. I mean, there's been some challenges, but I think when you have the mindset of doing the right thing and providing the right services, it just feels natural and it's easy.
Well, congratulations, man. This is
Thank you.
It's been a hell of a ride for you for the last 15 years, 16 years, and certainly since 1991. What is the best way to get in touch with Fence and Deck Connection? Is it your website, which is, again, fenceanddeckconnection.com, or call you? Or
they can go to our website. We have multiple numbers that they can call in. They can locate us on social sites through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can be contacted, but best ways to give us a call.
Do you have a kick-ass deck at home?
No.
Oh.
I don't need a deck because I have a walkout. So, unfortunately, I don't.
That's fantastic. Well, Jeff Wall, who is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing, as well as a managing partner for Fence and Deck Connection, thank you very much for your time today. Congratulations on such a great run, and I'm looking forward to the next 30, I guess. And
John, I appreciate you coming out and giving us a little bit of time. And anytime you want to talk and learn more about us, let me know.
Sounds good. In 30 years, I'll be here in my wheelchair. You'll have your gray hair and your cane. And
well, hopefully we're doing it from some sandy beach point, and we're overlooking the water with a cocktail.
Fantastic. Again, for folks who want to check it out, if you've got a home improvement, fenceanddeckconnection.com.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.